Hey, what's going on? My name's Vit, and in this video, I just wanted to sit down and talk about all the reasons that I am getting super hype for Dawntrail, the new Final Fantasy XIV expansion. It's shaping up to be a really promising expansion to this game, and we've only got about 2 months left. It's coming up fast, so it's kind of been at the back of my mind. I haven't really given it much thought since it was announced, since I've pre-ordered it. I've just been kind of focused on other goals inside and out of the game. Like, for example, my group just cleared DSR this past weekend, as you can see from my shiny new weapon. So that was cool. That was like one of the last things on my Endwalker bucket list, so to say. And we got that done, so I've kind of accomplished everything that I want to in Endwalker. So I've kind of got 2 months to kill, and it's given me a chance just to look forward to Dawntrail a bit more. It's given me a chance to think about, what I'm excited for, what's coming up, and I want to share some of that stuff with you in this video, specifically looking at the launch of the expansion. There's going to be a lot of stuff right off the bat that I'm really excited for, so let's just jump right into it and start going over some of it. Alright, so first thing on my list, and probably the most obvious that you've heard talked about a million times by now, is the graphical update. Now, this is the first graphics update that this game's gotten in its 10-year life cycle, and I think it's well past due. Just to keep this game looking a little more modern, it could use some touching up. I really like how this game looks. Personally, I love the art style, and it really only starts to suffer a little bit when you really zoom in on some textures. Some of the older lighting kind of isn't so great either. Some of the, metallic surfaces are going to get touched up. Some of the character models are getting touched up. A lot of the old gear, like for example, my Dragoon Ultima weapon here, like this thing looks like it came out of a Super Nintendo game. If you look at it too closely, it is just covered in pixels. When you're playing the game, you're never this zoomed in, so it's not a big deal. And when you have it unsheathed, it's even less of a big deal because it's got this massive glow on it. You can hardly make it out in bright areas anyway. But it would be nice to see some of that stuff just touched up a little bit, clean up some of these textures. Some of the character models have some sharp edges on them. A lot of the time you can sometimes see it in the shoulders and some of the faces around the ears here. You can kind of see the polygons. Some of that stuff's going to be smoothed out. There's going to be more depth to, the hair, the faces, the facial features. That stuff's going to be really cool to see. I think it's going to make the characters feel a little bit more alive, make some of the world and settings feel a little bit more alive, and it's just past due at this point. Again, this game's over 10 years old, and just to keep it more modern, it'll be nice to see just some things with a fresh coat of paint, some added shine, some added texture. I personally play this game on PC, and I use the NVIDIA game filter, which it's not even a mod, it's just like an overlay that my graphics card does. That, sharpens some things up a little bit, enhances the colors a bit, but it'd be really nice to be able to play the game without that. Not that it's, difficult to set up or a strain on the PC or anything, but, just having this game look as good as it could natively would be really nice. So I'm really looking forward to that graphics update. It'll be interesting to see how everything looks. I don't think it's going to be very different at all. The game is still going to look like the game. Your character's still going to look like your character, but it should have that extra shine and polish to it that is very welcome in 2024. Alright, the next thing I'm really excited about is actually female Hrothgar. This character, Wuk-Lamat, was introduced at the very tail end of Endwalker's story, and she's already become such a lovable character. I think she's going to be really awesome going into Dawntrail. And just being able to play this race on our own, I'm not sure that I'm gonna Fantasia to female Hrothgar. I do think male Hrothgar is cool. I think it's nice that there's a bit more of a fantasy race in the game compared to, human with cat ears, human with lizard tail, or human with bunny ears. Having, these more lioness type races. I think it's just really interesting. It fits in well with the setting of Dawntrail from what we've seen. Like I said, I'm not sure I'm going to play one yet. I'm tempted for sure. It'll be interesting to see what the character creation's like from some of the concept art and preliminary video that they showed us for the female Hrothgar. They look really cool. They look awesome. It's just a cool, strong race that fits well with a lot of the different jobs, and the style looks awesome. So I don't know. There's not much else to say about this one, but Wuk-Lamat is one of my favorite characters so far, so I don't know. I'm looking forward to it.
It's nothing I can handle.
Okay, this next thing is another pretty obvious one, and that's the addition of the two new jobs, Viper and Pictomancer. Now, I'm a DPS main, primarily playing melee, so I'll talk about Viper first. We'll get to Picto in a sec, but I primarily played Ninja for the last few patches, the last tier, the last raid tier. I did Savage and then Ultimate on Ninja. And let me tell you, it's kind of painful only having one job that uses the gear set that Ninja does. So it's going to be really nice just alone in having a job that at least shares gear with Ninja. Because before, if you play Ninja, you're stuck with Ninja. You don't really have another option. If you play Dragoon, you get Reaper. If you play Monk, you get Samurai. Ninja was kind of stuck by itself when it comes to gear. So having Ninja and Viper share gear sets, very excited about that. It's going to be great being able to swap between two jobs if that's what I'd even decide to play. I don't know that I'll be a Viper main or anything. I have always loved the idea of just a DPS with a sword. Just straightforward. Viper is kind of that. It's got two dual blades. They connect into like a twin blade, which looks awesome. I can't complain about that. I have some expectations that it's going to play similar to Reaper, but maybe a little different. My guess is that it's going to play opposite of Reaper, where Reaper's base combo is kind of slow, and then when you go into burst, things speed up a little bit. Ninja is kind of a fast job all around, so I'm expecting Viper to be kind of the same. When it's in its dual blade mode, maybe it'll be quick. And then for your burst, you might switch to the twin blade, and things might slow down a little bit. Who knows? That's my guess. We've only seen such little information about it. We've seen like 2 or 3 attacks, and that doesn't really give us any idea. So hopefully when the job action trailer comes out and they show a bit more of it, we'll get a better idea how it plays. But I'm really looking forward to that. I can't wait to try out Viper and, you know, just learn that job, level it, and see where it sits with the rest of the melee for me, because I love playing melee. There's a slight chance I go tank this tier. I'm not sure yet, but I'll likely be on melee, so having Ninja Viper could be a really cool combo. So the other option is Pictomancer, which is another caster. Right now we have Summoner, Red Mage, Black Mage. I love playing Red Mage. The casters kind of sit on opposite ends of the spectrum from one another, where Summoner kind of is on the easier, more accessible side, less complexity. Black Mage is on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, where it's just got a lot going on. Red Mage falls somewhere in between, so I'm kind of expecting Pictomancer to sit somewhere between Red Mage and Black Mage. They've already said that Picto is not going to have a raise like Red Mage or Summoner. It's also not been confirmed that Red Mage and Summoner are keeping their raise. I expect them to, but you never know. But Picto will definitely not. So I'm expecting it to maybe be a little more difficult, maybe do a little more damage. Hopefully it plays in a fun way that, you know, has a lot of complexity to it and just a lot of depth to the job, to the rotation. Overall, just fun to play. Would be nice. I don't really have any other expectations for it. Some of the painterly effects that it has going on look interesting and cool. You can paint a Moogle. That should be fun. So I have no idea of what to expect with that job, but it's got a raid buff, allegedly, so I don't know. I'm expecting it to be a strong contender for the casters. I don't play caster a whole lot, but I really like Red Mage. It's going to be hard to beat Red Mage for me, but I'm looking forward to leveling another job in the form of Picto. More options are always better, so I don't know. Picto looks fun. Picto looks cool. It's just another flavor for the casters, which is good because right now I think casters are pretty well-rounded, but I don't know. More diversity in there is good for sure, and hopefully it actually has to cast a lot, unlike another specific caster. I'm sure you can picture which one I'm talking about. So, I don't know. Both the jobs look really fun. I'm excited to play Viper and Picto. Definitely one of the things I'm most excited for when it comes to the launch of Dawntrail. Another thing that I'm really excited to get back into, that some of you might think I'm crazy for, is just leveling. I miss leveling all the jobs in this game. I've been max level on every job for too long now. And I have all my relics for Endwalker. I have no reason to run roulettes anymore. So I kind of just miss doing that. I miss the satisfaction of going through, hitting new levels, unlocking new skills, and just, you know, learning these new jobs as you go and as you play whatever random dailies that you're thrown into. That was always just a really satisfying experience for me. I leveled all these jobs over the course of Endwalker, from nothing all the way to max level, and I just really enjoyed the experience. Like I said, maybe I'm crazy here, but this is one of the more fun things for me, and I've been missing these past few months because there's just nothing left to do when it comes to leveling for me. I guess I could go farm tombstones and roulettes, but they don't have much use anymore either, so kind of just waiting. But when the new jobs come out, we're going to have 21 of them. That's quite a lot. So going through, I only have 10 levels to go on all of them. Obviously, Viper and Picto will have 20 because they start a little lower at 80. But I can't wait to see all of the new skills that all of these jobs have. I think they have to do something pretty big for level 100. You never know, they might just add another button that does big damage and has a flashy effect. That would be fine. It would be interesting if they kind of change how things play, maybe move around some skills a bit, maybe rearrange some orders of things, maybe give you more skills at slightly earlier levels. I don't know. There's a lot they could do, but again, I think they have to do something big for level 100. I think there's going to be a lot of big, really flashy stuff, because if there's not, level 100 might not hit the way that it should, but we will see when it comes out and when we start leveling these. I'm planning on making videos for every job for the level 100 experience. So I'm really looking forward to doing that, along with just playing them for myself, learning them myself, and taking them into whatever new content we get. So that should be one of the most exciting things, especially when that job action trailer comes out, hopefully soon. We have no confirmations yet, but we'll see in the near future and hopefully get a taste for some of this stuff. Another thing that I'm really looking forward to at launch that might not be super popular, I'm really not sure, is actually just running a bunch of fates. So you can do all these fates on the map, and at launch, at least with Endwalker, these were super popular because you have your shared fate log that requires you to kill a whole bunch of these. And when you do, you actually get a currency that you can exchange for music and other rare items. But you basically go through all the different zones, killing these fates. And it actually turns out to be a really good way to level too, which is fun. So you can basically just run a bunch of your jobs through these different fates out in the overworld. It's a really great way just to get into a party and hang out when, you know, you're done the story and maybe looking to level a bit. You can come in and just fight some mobs out in the world with a bunch of people, leveling your jobs, have some fun. And I don't know, I'm really looking forward to getting back into this. It might not seem like the most exciting thing, but I had a really good time with this when Endwalker came out, and I was learning a bunch of new jobs. We were just kind of going through as a group, big train, going through and killing all of these different fates. You get some fun ones, you have some fun with the people that you're playing with, and it was just a fun use of time at the very start of the expansion, and it's something you want to do off of the bat at the start of the expansion if you're planning on it, because over time people kind of lose interest in this. Like if you were to go try to farm out all these fates right now, you'd likely have to do it by yourself. There aren't too many people out there doing it regularly later on into the expansion, so if you can do this at the start, if you can level some jobs with it, it's a good use of your time. It might not be the fastest or most efficient leveling method out there, but you get other rewards out of it as well. You get currencies, you can buy items, and either crafting items or, you know, music from all the different zones. I can show a bit of the vendor on screen. Yeah, there's different vendors around in the different zones as well, so I don't know. This was just fun and rewarding for me at the start of Endwalker, and I think it's worth a shot if you haven't tried it. I'm personally just really looking forward to this. Maybe it's another thing that I'm kind of crazy about, or crazy for, but I don't know. It's just another fun thing to do out in the world with other players. If people tell you this game's dead, they're crazy, because I've been playing it throughout the entirety of Endwalker, and there's always been a very healthy number of people playing at any given time. Sure, we're on Primal, and, you know, the party finder and the raiding scene has moved over to Aether, but it is what it is. We just go over there if we want to raid. But what I'm really excited for with the launch of Dawntrail is just seeing such a resurgence in the player base, and just all the people coming back to the game or playing the game more frequently. Just seeing everybody out in the world and how lively the world will become. The launch of Endwalker was absolutely insane. The servers were so busy that you couldn't even log in. The queues were hours long. And if you got in and disconnected, you'd have to wait all over again. I think they've got a lot of that sorted out with the launch of Dawntrail, with added data centers, the additional cloud server options that they were experimenting with. Some of that can definitely help with the overflow if we run into population issues on the servers, but aside from all that, it'll just be fun seeing everybody out in the world doing their quests, exploring the new story and the new setting for this game, and it'll just be fun to play with people again. Like I was saying in the last section about the fates, doing some of that open world stuff or the overworld stuff, running dungeons with new people, just experiencing it all for the first time as a community is something that's really special. That was very fun when Endwalker came out, and I expect it to be just as good this time around. Despite whatever happens in the story, it doesn't matter, because we're all just going to be having fun playing this game together. The one thing I will say I'm hopeful for is Primal's Party Finder coming back for the Extreme raids, and further along into the new Savage raids that'll come out shortly after. It'd be really nice if Primal got its Party Finder back. I'm hopeful for that. We'll see what happens, but you never know. But yeah, I mean, this game has a ton of people in it currently. I'm in Limsa right now. It just died down a bit. There were more people here a minute ago, but even so, there's more people than my game can load in on screen at any one time. And I expect that to be even crazier at the launch of Dawntrail, and it'll just be a really fun experience. One of my favorite pieces of content in this game are the Extreme Trials. Even though I do Savage and Ultimate, I feel like Extreme is just such a nice type of raid. It's not as stressful as Savage, and sometimes I just like to kind of kick back and relax a little more with Extreme. I personally farmed out all of the Endwalker mounts and the Extreme mounts from all the past expansions during Endwalker as well. I got my flying Bahamut mount here with his little chair that he holds you in, as well as all the Lynxes from the Endwalker mounts. I did that all on on patch pretty much. I got lucky with some of the drops. Others I had to buy with the totems, but this was always just super fun to me. It's fun to go into those fights. It's fun to do them on repeat, practice new jobs, practice jobs you know, try to get better. I feel like Extreme's a great place to learn. And with the launch of Dawntrail, I'm assuming it'll be the same as the launch of Endwalker, where we got 2 Extremes right off the bat at launch. So you basically go through story and immediately you have 2 brand new Extreme raids to Prog. You jump right in, learn them, you get some gear from them. The first one typically would have accessories, and then the second one would have weapons. You want to get those for the start of Savage, I believe. Crafted gear might be good as well. I'm not entirely sure which is better. Obviously the crafted gear is going to be good, and you're going to want that too, but either way, you're going to want to farm out those Extremes if you're going to be doing anything, just to get some gear at the start of the expansion, just to practice, and you have a chance to win a bunch of cool mounts. So this is the one from Endwalker for getting all of the Extreme mounts. You get this one. It'll be interesting to see what we get with Dawntrail. Extreme is just really fun for me. I really had a good time doing all those in Endwalker. And just having 2 to do at the same time. It's going to be a busy first week. Trying to get through the story and then learn those 2 fights pretty much as soon as possible. So I can't wait for that. I can't wait to learn new, harder fights at level 100, because that's the other thing. Those will be the first real fights at level 100. So it'll be interesting to get a taste for what's to come with Savage, with future Extremes, with future Ultimates. No idea what to expect with level 100. It's going to be interesting, but those Extreme fights are probably one of the most interesting parts of the launch of Dawntrail for me. So we'll have to see how it goes. One thing that I haven't really touched on at all yet is the story and setting. Now, obviously, this is one of the most exciting parts about the game. We don't really know where the story's going. We know that we're getting a nice summer vacation, in theory. We know that that's going to, have some twists and turns, but we'll see where we end up. But the setting of the new world looks really cool. It's a lot of, South American influence. You go out into the Peruvian mountains or the Amazon rainforest, or, things clearly inspired by different parts of South America. You've also got places inspired by like the American Southwest, the Wild West. And then you have some futuristic cyberpunk type cities with Solution 9, and who knows what that means. But the general vibe of the expansion looks really cool. And it reminds me of some places that we've been to in the past, like in Stormblood here in the Azim Steppe. Just these really big natural zones that have, big mountains, big open spaces. You're just out there in nature. You can't really see too well right now because it's nighttime, unfortunately, but I'm sure you recognize this zone. Yeah, I don't know. I think another place that they did a really good job with this was in Thavnair in Endwalker. Thavnair was maybe a bit more modern feeling than the Azim Steppe, where it was a little more densely packed, felt a little more alive as a zone. Obviously, Azim Steppe was a very interesting zone, but Thavnair, I think, does this setting well. Compared to what we're going to be expecting in Dawntrail, with some more of these densely packed forested areas, with just, cool natural formations, big mountains in the background. I think Thavnair is a great example of what we can expect zones to be like moving forward. And I think Thavnair did a great job with just a lot of interesting points of interest, places to explore. And it seems like they're taking the visuals and some of that interest up to the next level with Dawntrail. We'll see what comes of it, but the zones themselves have me very excited. Yeah, I don't know. Some of those South American influences look really cool, and it's a setting that we haven't really seen a whole lot of. Thavnair here is pretty much the closest, but obviously this is not South American. But, you know, obviously it's a loose representation of it anyway, but I don't know. I'm really looking forward to exploring some of the new zones and the style. Like I mentioned, we also have that Solution 9 city as well, I guess it is. And they've kind of been teasing this style recently with some of the different outfits and glamour pieces, like some of the recent PvP glamours, for example. Oh, I'm not in a city, so I don't have my glamour plates. Let me return real quick so I can show that. But they've added a bunch of more modern streetwear styling to the game recently, and I think that's really going to carry over into Dawntrail. So if I put on my gunbreaker here. So I don't know. This was some of the recent PvP gear, and I just think that's going to be a big part of a lot of the new raid stuff, the new raid gear, and just a big part of the story. It seems like it's going to be one of the main central hubs. It's really going to have this Blade Runner cyberpunk type synthwave feel to it. And I think a lot of the glamours, the styling, and just the whole city is going to be a really interesting place. It might not fit to your typical fantasy expectations, but some of my favorite styling in Final Fantasy actually comes from like FF13. Maybe a hot take, but I think that game did like sci-fi fantasy in like a weird futuristic way that was very unique to Final Fantasy. So I think they really know what they're doing in that regard. So I do have faith that they'll make an interesting place, an interesting world in that style. And they've already shown that they do a good job with some of the glams. So I'm really excited to see what they do with that, what they do with the big open natural zones as well. And that Arcadian raid series is going to be interesting to say the least, because it totally has that synthwave cyberpunk feel, and a whole raid of that. I don't know. I don't know what to expect, but those bosses, the gear, everything, the weapons, it's going to be pretty awesome in my opinion. But we'll see. So I'm excited. So one huge thing for this expansion that sometimes might get overlooked is actually Yoshi P, the producer for the game's stance and what he said about the game for the future. Basically, he's expressed that they'll be adding a whole lot more to this game, and it comes across that Dawntrail is really just going to be the biggest expansion yet. In the past, it seems like they have added some new things, but at the same time took away other things. And with this expansion, we're getting a whole lot of stuff, pretty much everything that the game has ever had, all at once. Obviously, this comes out throughout the entire life of the expansion across the different patches after release. We're getting a lot of the stuff at launch, but you know, there's a lot coming after the fact as well. And Yoshi P has also made it pretty clear that he's going to make this a very good expansion, and he's been taking feedback and they've been listening, and it seems like the devs are in a really good spot to put together something really special with Dawntrail. Obviously, I'm looking forward to the raids, but we've also got the Alliance raids. You've got Beastmaster, more Blue Mage, crafting, obviously. We'll get some more of that. Cosmic exploration, where you actually get to explore space. Obviously, the increased level cap that we already talked about. A lot of the world building and story. Field operations are coming back, which is something that we did not have in Endwalker, which are basically those big exploratory zones like Eureka and Bosnia. More Ultimate, as expected, for better or worse. I don't know how I feel about getting back into Ultimate, but we'll see. I'm sure I'll be ready by the time it comes out. But it's been nice taking a little break now that I've wrapped up the Endwalker ones. PvP, Blue Mage, Hildebrand. More Deep Dungeon. Again, a lot of this is stuff that we might have gotten a few things here and there. More variant dungeons, and I assume Criterion along with it. and just more, I'm sure. But it seems like Yoshi and the devs are just in a really good spot, and they're on the same page with a lot of what players want out of this expansion. So I'm personally super hopeful. I have faith in them, and I think they're going to put together something really special with this one. Who knows how the story will go, but everything surrounding it, the stuff that you're actually going to be playing for months and years on end after the story, in my opinion, that's almost more important. And it seems like they've got a really good roadmap for it. So I'm super excited beyond just the launch of Dawntrail, into, you know, all of the other stuff that's going to come along after the fact. So Dawntrail's shaping up to be awesome, but we'll have to wait until launch, or wait until they give us a little bit more information. Can't wait for that job action trailer, but it looks like they've got a really good plan ahead of them. So the last thing on my list might come across as a bit of a cop-out, but we already even talked about it a little bit, but it's just playing this game with the community. I really can't wait to just dive in, especially now with this YouTube channel. Dive in, play this game with a bunch of new people. Keep making these videos, keep talking to you about the game. It's just a new way for me personally to experience the game, but even outside of the YouTube channel, streaming on Twitch, whatever, there are great communities out there. So I personally want to spend more time with people playing this game for this next expansion. It's something I'm really looking forward to doing, and hopefully you are too. So there's always the Discord if you want to hop in and play with us, or just chat, or say hi, or anything. You're welcome to do so. That'll be down in the description. But I'm also just looking forward to all the memes and fun and hanging out in people's streams and watching everybody else go through this game after I do. And it'll just be really entertaining, because the community is such a big part of this game, and such an enjoyable part as well. So getting to experience that on launch with everybody at the same time is something really special, something that can't be beaten. So I don't know. Between that, this YouTube channel, I appreciate everybody who's watching, and hopefully I'll get my Twitch stream off the ground soon. That's been a bit more of a learning curve for me, getting that all set up, but we're getting there. I promise that will happen soon as well. And I'll keep making these videos throughout the expansion and see where we end up. So I don't know. That's my list. Tell me in the comments what you're excited for with the launch of Dawntrail, or in the patches, what's coming up in the future. Just let me know. I'm interested to hear from you. So I don't know. We also somehow have to play through all of Elden Ring again, because the Elden Ring DLC is coming up a week before the launch of Dawntrail as well. So I'm going to be very busy, but I'm hoping I'll get through that as well. Can't complain about all the good stuff that's coming out in the near future, and hopefully you'll be here for it. I don't know that I'll do much for Elden Ring here on the channel, but we'll see. Definitely lots coming for Dawntrail. More videos in the meantime, and I look forward to all of it. It's going to be a blast. Hopefully the same goes for you. So I'll catch you around, and thank you for watching this video. Thanks for subscribing and liking as well. It means a lot. It's really helping out. It's been a huge help in this past month launching this channel, and everybody who's subscribed, watched, joined the Discord. You're all awesome, and I appreciate every last one of you. So thank you, and I'll catch you in the next video. So have a good one. Peace.